Dave, you described Saturday as the biggest game of your managerial career. With that in mind, Wednesday is presumably that much bigger.
Yeah, of course it is. It's one step closer to the end of the season, one step closer to an objective that we set out the start of the season to achieve. So yeah, a big game that we're looking forward to.
You spoke last time about this being your 10th playoff campaign as a manager. How much has your approach towards them evolved in that time? Has much changed from that first success at Colwyn Bay to here and now?
Um, I'm not sure. I would suggest yes, but I don't think you consciously really think about things. I think the processes you go through in order to be successful, maybe over the course of a season, can be dictated to by your experiences around having success and what you've done over that period to allow that to happen. When you get into these playoff campaigns, they don't get any easier. The teams in the playoff positions are there for a reason. The good teams, they're normally really well matched, and I think that's the case with the group that we have in this little mini tournament, if you like. But you have to use any advantage that you can to, if it's to provide a little bit of advice, experience to the players that will help, then brilliant. We've done that, but that's not to say that the players haven't performed or gone out and had to perform in a really good way, because it's difficult. I've been there as a player. The tough games, as much as we can try and be consistent and take any emotion out of it, the jeopardy is enormous, and players realise that. So the pleasing thing for us was Saturday they went and performed in a really good way, and I've given ourselves this opportunity of a like I say, one-off game at home to try and progress to a playoff final.
Both teams had a good look at each other on Saturday. What were you able to take and I suppose learn from that game that you can use going into the second leg?
Not a massive amount. Just as I don't think Leyton Orient will have learned a massive amount. I think the game was a really good game. Two teams trying to play their way in order to get the better of another team. A really close game. I don't think there's anything that happened on Saturday that will have shocked Richie from our perspective, and vice versa. We know what their threats are. We know what they try and do. They're good at it. You have to try and stop them, and likewise, we're similar. So, if we've learned anything, we've learned that the two teams that we thought were closely matched are really closely matched. We've got to look at. People will think that for us the hard work is done because we've gone away from home and we've got a draw. I think the playoffs this campaign have showed you that I don't think a team has won at home yet. So that's nothing against the norm at the moment, but the hard work is in front of us. This is a 50-50 game. Yes, we're at home in front of our own supporters, but we're playing against a really good team, and I truly believe that whoever does progress will have a really good chance of getting promoted to the Championship and have another tough game in front of them.
Did you expect the game to be as open as it was on Saturday? Because when you watched the other semi-final, it was probably a kind of cagey affair that you expect those first legs to be, but Saturday felt more like a game that both teams really wanted to win.
Probably in hindsight, if you're looking at the teams that are involved and how they play, you would have suggested that our game against Leyton Orient would be more open than what Challinor against Wycombe would, and that's not taking anything away from their game or that semi-final. I think if again I suppose you have to put yourself in managers' positions. If I'm going into the game as Wycombe's manager, having lost their last 3 games and having only 2 weeks ago been beaten 4-0 at home by Charlton, I'd probably be quite happy with where things sit, and making that a one-off game. I think you want to be in the game, and however you choose to go about that is your sort of business, really, based on the players and their skill set. I suppose of the way we will try and play and the way Richie's will try and play, there'll be a little bit more build, maybe a little bit more risk. Again, whether that's the right way to go or the wrong way to go is down to people's preferences, really. Charlton and Wycombe both kept clean sheets. Neither us or Leyton Orient did. So it's whatever, I suppose, not so much takes your fancy, whatever fits your profile of players. We choose to play in the way that we do. I think it gets the best out of what we've got. But both games are really closely and finely poised, with everything to play for.
And with it ending as a draw rather than protecting a lead, I suppose what it does do is it gives real clarity to the players, to the supporters. Everyone knows exactly what's going to be required now to get to Wembley.
Yeah, listen, I don't sort of pertain to that being much different. If we'd have had a goal lead going into this game, it wouldn't have changed our setup, just as if we'd have been a goal behind. This is another 90-minute game, 120-minute game, maybe beyond that, to decide who goes to Wembley to play in a playoff final. So, yeah, if you do want that clarity and people see that as a, I don't know, advantage or whatever, then so be it. From our perspective, our focus would have been trying to win another game of football, and that still remains exactly the objective that's in front of us.
Individually, we spoke about Fevs on Saturday, but I thought Owen Moxon probably had his best game in a county shirt so far. Maybe took him a bit of time to get up to speed after joining in January, but seems to be finding his feet now.
Yeah, I thought Moxon was excellent. I thought we're one of them, in my eyes, teams where you look at individual players throughout the division, probably jump off the page more than maybe our players. But I think as a team, as a collective, we've got a really strong group. Evidently within that, there are going to be players that stand out. Notoriously going to be forward players, could have an impact in the exciting bit of scoring goals and creating goals. But I thought Mox was excellent. I thought our midfield three were excellent with Ollie and Will. I thought we conceded 2 goals, but I thought we defended really, really well. And we're probably hard done by with the goals that we did concede. But collectively, you need everybody to perform at a level, and they did that on Saturday. Yeah, it was without question Mox's best performance in a Stockport shirt. Arguably one of Fed's best performances in a Stockport shirt, certainly from starting. Great pat on the back for that, but go and reproduce that on Wednesday. That's what we need. We need everybody to be at their best again. We've obviously got players coming back. We've got Jack available again for us. That will give us more options. But I anticipate that Leyton Orient will have players coming back, be that Brown or Curry that potentially starts, or potentially Dan Happy. They've got lots of players that are probably on the brink of being back playing. So, yeah, both teams are probably in a similar position and hoping to perform on Wednesday.
In terms of team news, then, has everyone come through that first leg okay, ready to go again on Wednesday?
Yeah, everyone's fine based on where we were on Saturday, and a couple of days training. Not loads to do in terms of prep. Little bits from a game, but when you've played a team 72 hours earlier, there's not a whole lot of change. And like I say, I don't think either side will have huge changes in terms of what the game will look like and what the personnel certainly will look like.
No Challinor on Saturday. Was that because of an injury?
No. Like I say, we travelled with everybody. You have to pick a squad, and we left Noyley, Sam Cosgrove, Powley, Jay Mingy out the squad. Macca has got a little bit of fluid on his knee that we're trying to control, but travelled with us. Ben was obviously with us, and he's been training and probably is really close to a return. So we've got players coming back. You just have to, I suppose, pick a bench that we feel will help us depending on what the game looks like. And sometimes you have to try and look forward to what eventualities might be out there. Sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong. That doesn't mean that the bench or how we start on Saturday won't be different, and some of those that weren't involved might well be involved.
Wednesday obviously also brings the possibility of penalties. You were on both sides of that a couple of years ago in the playoffs. Is that something you practice for specifically in the days to come? We've
practiced and been practicing for the last few weeks. Again, as much as I'm a believer of practice, I think those situations everyone's tried it are really difficult to replicate. You look at, as much as it is around technique and trusting your technique, it's trusting your technique in the ultimate of pressurised situation. So, listen, if that eventuality comes about, I'd believe in what we've got, and people who take penalties and have taken penalties previously. But we know that you are a little bit in the lap of the gods in terms of what those situations look like. Let's hope that they're not required in a positive way from our perspective.
Well, the importance of finishing third was that this decisive game is at Edgeley Park. You've won 9 of your last 10 at home. The game's sold out, including the Railway, and you can feel the buzz around the town right now, and the role that the supporters have to play on Wednesday is going to be massive, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. It always is the case. I think the important thing from our perspective, from a player's perspective, is that you control that emotion, because there will be emotion in the ground, there will be some nerves in the ground, there will be real anticipation in the ground. As I say, probably a lot of people turn up thinking that the hard work's done, and the fact we've gone to Leyton Orient and got a draw and come back now with a one-off game, but the hard work's in front of us. We're playing against a really good team, a team that have beaten us at home already this season, so we know exactly what to expect. The supporters will, without question, will play their part. There's been some special evenings, although it might be a little bit of a lighter evening, this one, since I came back 3 and a bit years ago. And we want to do everything we can to make Wednesday another one of those occasions. We only do that by, like I say, controlling what we do, controlling our emotion, and performing, if we can, in a similar manner that what we did on Saturday. And if it's our time and we can do that, then great. If it's not, as long as we control those things, I'll be, like I say, super proud of what we've achieved. But at the moment, I've said previously, the carrot's getting a bit closer and a bit closer, and we want to go and grab it.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Good luck.
Welcome. Thank you.